Hello, ferrets, gays, and fellow unstable individuals. I've been meaning to make this video for a while, but I'm gonna put it honestly, I was too fucking lazy. But I'm not lazy now, so here is my absolute end review, even though the episode has been out for 8 fucking months. Oh my god, I am so late to the hype train. Anyway, if you're a fellow hater, stay here and listen to me scream about fictional characters that my autism won't let me stop thinking about. I'm going to give a quick summary of the episode, so if you don't want to hear me spiel, skip to the timestamps shown on screen. The episode opens up to Copper 9 just in general being destroyed and eaten. It shows the teacher for approximately 4 milliseconds before moving on. How kind of them to show the most peak character in all of MD in yet another episode. The peakness cannot be contained. Uzi tumbles through space and talks to her mother. Then N just kind of saves her. How lame. The Absolute Solver stops the ship, and yeah, that doesn't end very well. Uzi and N tumble back down to Copper 9 on fire. I have so many opinions about this, I will save it for the review section. They have a moment, stop saying they kiss, they literally just hugged, you simping assholes. And then Uzi says something cringe again.
Time to murder a planet! Hey, Sid! Suck on this!
Like, they're just so bad. I'm sorry, but they suck. And I'm tired of pretending they don't. Jay has a little moment. She finally decides to attack Con, Lizzie, and Thad after the entire wait since episode 7, and then gets stopped by V. V is alive, by the way. Jay and V fight, and Jay eventually offers a truce. Lesbians. But V apparently wants to be Uzi so bad that she uses her catchphrase that she hasn't used since forever ago.
How about you bite me?
Eventually, N and Uzi make it back to the surface of Copper 9 and Sin approaches them. When N commits the sibling crime of not responding back to her, she takes up the offer to bite Uzi and attempts to commit a cannibalism. N, however, is not cash money with this and tries to attack her, which results in her pinning him down, not like that, and tries to tear his core out. Uzi panics when N gets free headless, she's jealous for real, and breaks the ground or some shit, which causes them all to fall. Uzi drags N into the bunker, and Sin just creepily watches from afar. Sin goes into the bunker and callback pings all over the place. And N starts crying like a baby. He then comforts Uzi for some reason. He's such a simp, he doesn't even know how to care about himself, oh my god. And then here's waifu number 2, V. V starts hallucinating, this is a joke, please don't snipe me, and then tries to speak to N. Imposter music. Before N stops her, whoa. N almost gets murdered again before Con saves him. I have complaints I will share later. Then, cue epic fight scene before Sin gets absolutely diabolically slaughtered by a teenager with a pickaxe. Then Uzi becomes a damaged OC. How original. Huge episode 1 reference, epic credit music, before cutting to an ambiguous ending with Sin being Uzi's tail. And now on to my opinions. Ooh, controversial. It's shit. First off, the beginning looks promising, but why is the teacher there? There's really no need to call back to him. Reference. Like, it's just kind of weird that they put him there. Then Uzi talks to her mom, but her only genuine advice is literally just stop being a little bitch. And then boom, Uzi's cure? Like, she's just cured. It's really fucking weird to me. Like, there should have been a lot more emotion here, but it's just so devoid. It really fucking sucks, especially with the promising premise at the end of episode 7. And saving Uzi without any emotional turmoil beforehand fucking sucks. I hate it a lot. He needed to have more emotional breakdowns, all that fun stuff. He needed to have some sort of emotion about what happened in the previous episode. Like, seriously, it's like they're emotionless husks of the characters they're supposed to be. And oh my god, the huge retcon of them being on fire sucks. The moment feels like trash. They literally pre-established that solver/disassembly drones cannot survive the sun on an extremely cold planet that can't preserve life. And if the sun can, make them overheat and die, that means they're extremely sensitive. So them falling at the amount of heat where they are on fire makes no sense. How could they survive this? I hate it so much. J and V's fight scene feels stupid. Only semi-related. Why is the lesbian flag in the background? Do they even realize they added that? What does it imply? Also, I wish we had a Thad, Con, Lizzie versus Jay fight. It would have been cool. Maybe plus V? I don't know. On that topic, I'd like to say, why the fuck did they have no payoff? I get that they wanted hype for episode 8 or whatever, but that kind of feels like robbing us of, a possibly great fight scene. Thank you totally not for pointing out this flaw to me. Also, why is Jay on her murderer's side in the first place? I get that.
There's no escape, even in death.
And
It tricked you. If I promised you anything, you tricked me too.
implying that she tried not to follow what the Absolute Solver said, but was most likely killed over and over until she gave up, which is a horrifying implication, but they never address it, so it's fine, completely fine. God, Jay's potential was so wasted. Also, I feel like Sparky is kind of overrated. By the way, that's the Sentinel that tried to kill V. It's mid, but it's fine. Still don't understand how V tamed him. Also, V's entire reintroduction and Sparky wearing Bo's hat is literally just fan service. It's referencing a fan art, I think. Now back to the lovebirds, Uzi and N. Uzi being able to miraculously just not be controlled by the Absolute Solver? When did she learn this? Why didn't Doll do this? What the fuck? Anyways, I liked the let me in and callback scenes. I mean, I don't find them as creepy as most fans do, but I enjoy them both respectively. If I had to pick a favorite, it would probably be the callback ping scene. N's panic attack felt pretty genuine as someone who struggles with that kind of stuff. It was pretty accurate. However, my urge to complain will never cease. Blame totally not. N needed more mental stress. He'd gone through a lot and didn't get much payoff for it other than this scene. But I'm very appreciative with what we got, even if it was small. Even though it could have been executed so much fucking better. Now on to V. Oh, sweet, sweet V. She deserves her own video, not gonna lie, but here's a recap of my feelings. V coming back was a bad decision. Yes, I like V, but there's no realistic way that she would have survived. At least not one that didn't involve plot armor. V definitely got the most development out of all of MD's characters, and honestly some of the best. Even if her coming back pissed me the fuck off. Her hallway scene was definitely needed, though it was needed earlier on. V fans are probably gonna be mad at me for saying this, but meh, I don't care. V is kind of messy in terms of development, but whatever. This isn't her video. Now isn't it? Sin messing around and it causing her downfall feels both in character and out of character at the same time. It's like, yeah, sure, she's smart, but it does feel in character for her to be silly and mess around. I seriously don't know how I feel about this. Anyway, can we talk about how useless Con was in this episode? He just saved N and laughed. That's it! He needed so much more. Was his development for literally nothing? Apparently. Also, him barely having a reaction to Nori, calling her a disembodied heart hot, and just being locked out by Uzi was a letdown, honestly. Everyone in this series deserved better, to be honest. Thad literally did nothing in this finale. He had a potential to, actually become a decent character, but no, he just says, go, Woozy, woo, and that's about it. Same situation with Lizzie and Con, to be fair. I absolutely adore the fight scenes, though. The music is amazing, the animation is absolutely stunning, and it's surprisingly well done for an indie project. I feel like everything in this episode is amazing, besides the writing. Speaking of poor writing choices, Uzi being able to kill a literal eldritch deity, a black hole, basically a god somewhat, by swallowing one of its host cores, honestly makes no sense to me. It's the host, not the absolute solver itself. So why would swallowing its host's core kill it? And no, don't try to counter it. It's shown to be a separate entity time and time again, so this just makes zero sense. Also, this scene could have been so much better if Uzi died, surprisingly. Uzi, or literally anyone else dying, could have improved the episode. It feels like the stakes aren't even there because death doesn't even matter. Hell, the only characters that die are Doll and Tessa. Actually, I want to talk about them more. First up, Doll. So, Doll is originally treated pretty seriously. Her death is kind of treated like the sacrifices. It's a heroic moment for her. And then they go and treat it like a joke in episode 8. How is your writing this shit? I feel like Tessa's death is kind of needed. Considering all the other humans on Earth died, it wouldn't make sense if she didn't. I do wish they went into the emotional complexities of it, and I do wish that Tessin actually looked like a drone wearing a child's corpse, because do not lie and tell me that you would think that if you didn't know this show and saw Tessin. I'm not sorry. Alright, back to the emo. Uzi locking her mom and dad out kind of feels like a reverse effect of what her development is. It's letting people in, which this is quite literally the opposite of letting people in. It is the action of locking people out. Yet people still think that I dislike Uzi because I used to simp for N. Now back to my used to be OTP. Also, V and N's only interaction, where they're actually right next to each other and addressing each other in this episode, was N showing her a drawing. They had no emotional scenes, and no, the hallway scene doesn't really count because they weren't really interacting. That was more so Sin and V. V could have been dead, or worse, been kidnapped by a Rule 34 artist, and N had no reaction other than caring about her for 20 seconds before being all lovey-dovey with Uzi again. Truly the best writing of all time. Chef's kiss, Liam. Now on to the post-credits scene. Oh my god, I'm almost free from this scripting hell. Uzi flickering in the mirror is interesting. I personally don't really believe the hologram this is all fake theories, but it would be neat, I guess, to see that kind of thing. It feels more so like a casual way for Liam to be able to pick up the series again if he wants to, which, honestly, respectable. But Sin being Uzi's tail? When was this established? Why didn't it happen to Doll or any of the other Solver Core Sinate? What the fuck? What are the implications of this? Is this an Absolute Solver exclusive thing? What the hell even happened to Sin? There are so many unanswered questions here, so many plot holes, and yet they're just brushed off. This episode is so fucking disappointing. Why the fuck does this even matter to me? Anyway, that's all for my review. Quite negative, but whatever. That's just a part of my personality. Thank you so much for watching. And also, by the way, this was originally a 1K special. Wow, how far I've fallen.